All right, welcome to this lesson on compound figures, okay? And we're going to find the area of a compound figure. So a compound figure is basically a 2D shape that is made from a number of conventional shapes like triangles, rectangles, and circles, and we combine them together. And the best way for me to do this is just to give you a couple of examples. So let's take a look here. This is a shape, and we're going to want to find the area of the shaded area of this particular compound figure, okay? And the best way for us to do that is to sort of break it into different pieces or parts, okay, of areas that we can easily calculate. So what I'm going to do is first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that this line continues on and like this, and I'm going to say this is area 1, okay? And then I'm also going to draw a dotted line that comes all the way down here. Do that, and I'm going to call this area 2. And the area 2 will include the semicircle in here, okay? And then area 3 will be the triangle over here. And so what I've done is I've created a rectangle, a semicircle, and a triangle, all of which I can find the shape of, okay? And then I can find my total area. Now, it's a matter of there's sort of two steps to doing this or two methodologies to doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of divide my workspace into two parts here. Okay, so I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go my area total, okay, is going to equal this area 2 plus the area 3, and then I'm going to subtract area 1. So I'm going to say it's area 2 plus area 3 minus area 1. And it doesn't matter. You could have named this one 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't matter as long as you're identifying them correctly up here, which way you've done that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work over on this side and figure out my area 1, my area 2, and my area 3. So for example, area 1 is a circle, or at least a half a circle, so that is going to be pi r squared, and then I'm going to cut it in half because I only need half the circle. And now I can do my mathematics and calculate that out, right? And my radius is given to me, so it's not that difficult. So area 1 equals 3.14 times 20 squared, and that whole thing is divided by 2. And I can calculate my area 1, okay? Now, it's easiest to use a calculator to do this on the side. If you want, like I can bring up my calculator here, which is not that difficult to do, but truth of the matter is you'll probably use your own personal calculator, which I think works a lot better. So I'm going to go 20 times 20 for 20 squared. Then I'm going to times it by 3.14 and say equals, so that looks to be correct, divided by 2 equals, and that's 628 square centimeters. It comes out to a nice perfect round whole number, right? 628 centimeters squared. And then I'm going to move on to area 2, which is a rectangle, and that is just length times width, length times my width. So in this particular case, oh, this is more interesting. My length is going to be 50, and my width here will be 20 plus 20. So that equals, because this distance here is 20 to halfway, it must be 20 again, so it's 40. So it's 50 times 40, okay? And that works out to 2,000, okay, centimeters squared. And notice how I'm always kind of keeping my units in there, okay? And sometimes it's good to, say, well, does that area look bigger than the semicircle? Well, I hope it is because the semicircle fits in it. So at 2,000, we know we're pretty much correct, right? And then the last one is to find the area of um, my triangle, and this can be a little bit trickier. A3, okay, is going to be 1/2 the base times the height. Okay, so I'm going to say this is my height at 40, We know that because it's the same height as over here. But then the tricky part is what's this distance here? And this distance here is going to be 80 minus 50. And so it's going to equal 30. And so that's my base. So I'm going to have area 3 equals 1/2 my 30 times 40. And I should be able to find out what my area 3 is now. Okay, so, and I think if you do this math in your calculator, you're going to get this to be 600, okay, centimeters squared. And now I'm ready to sort of plunk all this information in over here to find my area total. Notice how I'm using a lot of these, what they call subscripts. That's how I can distinguish between things, area, different things. So I can use the letter A, A1, A2, A3, but I've also labeled those over here. It's really important. And AT essentially means the area total. So the area total represents A2, which is 2,000, plus my A3, which is 600, minus my 628. Okay, 628. And area total equals, well, then it's going to be 1,300, and what is that? 72, I believe, centimeters squared. And I can then kind of draw a box around it. Now, if it was written as a word problem of some sort, it would require a therefore statement. But because it's not written as a word problem here, I wouldn't really expect a therefore statement. But I greatly appreciate when students box off their final answer because it makes my life a lot easier in looking for what is your exact and final answer. Okay, I can do another example down below here. Okay, this is slightly different, but not really. Okay, so we basically have three different shapes. Again, we have this triangle here, which is being excluded. I'm assuming that the shaded area is here. Okay, I'm just going to clarify that you're looking for. It's not the best question in that sense, but I snagged it nicely off the internet. And so what we have is we have A1. This is our big area. We have an A2, and we have an A3, which is down here. And I often do that, like the largest area gets A1 and then smaller and so forth. But I didn't do that on the last one, but hey, that's the way it goes. So separate my page again over here, okay? And I'm going to say that my total area, my area total, AT, is going to equal A1 plus the A2 area, and then it's going to subtract the A3 area, okay? And now what I'm going to do is work over here to calculate each of these things, okay? So first I have A1, which is a rectangle. A1 is this rectangle here, and it includes this little piece here because we're going to subtract that A3 at the end. Right now, we're just going to calculate it out as that and then find this area and subtract it. So that is going to be length times width. And it gives us the length and the width here. So A equals 9, A1, sorry, equals 15 times 9. And if you're wondering how to do that, well, that's 15 times 10 is 150. And we would then subtract 115 off of that 150. So we subtract a 15, a value of 15. So A1 equals 135. And in this particular question, they don't have any units. I'm just going to make it up. I'm going to say it's meters, okay? I'm going to pretend that these are all meters. I don't know why they didn't do that, but we're just going to say it's all meters. Just makes my life easier, okay? And here's what goes on next is we're going to move to the A2, area 2, and area 2 is a triangle, so it's 1/2 the base times the height, and I can put a line there just to distinguish between the two. A2 equals 1/2 the base is 9 and the height is 6, so it's 9 times 6. And so if I do the math on that, it works out to 27 equals 27 meters squared, okay? And then the last one is A3. I'll draw a line again so it's clear that I'm working on A3. Again, it's 1/2 the base times the height, okay? And A3 will equal the base being 6, 1/2 times 6 times 3, and that works out to 9. And if you don't believe me on any of these, just go and double check it. Maybe I made a mistake and I got the area wrong. I mean, I am doing these in my head, so it is possible. So now it's ready to go over here and do the calculation with for the area total. So the area total is going to be A1, which is 135 plus 27, right? And then subtract 9. And I think if you do that math, let me see if I can do it in my head here. Oh boy. I'm going to add 18 to this, and that's a 3, 153. You can do that, and I write my meter squared in there, and away I go. Now, this particular question did not have meter squared in, so you just don't have to put units. You can write, if you want, you could just write units squared, okay? Because area is a measure of squares, units that we square as we go. So let's go and hit it. I've given you worksheets with your assignment to practice doing this. It's not that difficult. Give you some practice on it. It makes you start to think, and how can we find different areas, and this can be kind of somewhat fun. All right. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. We'll see you next time.